So I played 40 hours of this game, and there was some good 40 hours. I'm just gonna say straight off the rip that this was a good Souls like. So if you like Souls likes, and you're thinking this might be the game, it's a pretty good game. Now, in my opinion, I like Liza P a little bit better than this game, but Liza P's, I don't know, it hit different for me. I don't want to really get into that game, but it is an awesome game. But this game, it's really great too. I love the atmosphere and everything. This game was really, the devs did a really good job with this game. Let's just say that because it's a huge difference between the last one. I played the first one for a little while. I think I beat like half the game. I couldn't really get into it, but this one I hear they made huge improvements on this one compared to the last one. It's crazy. These guys did an awesome job, and I commend them for that. I think there's only like 30 of them, so it's not a whole lot. The team's not really that big. To come out with something like this is awesome. It has its bugs. You know, there's been had some clipping issues, had some crashing issues. The crash kind of sucked because I couldn't find a save point and or a beacon. That's what they call it in this game. Couldn't find a beacon. I was running around everywhere, killing a bunch of stuff, trying to find a save point. Then ended up crashing, and then I ended up losing like I don't know 10,000 gloom or something. So that was kind of rough. But other than that, I think I only had one or two crashes out of this whole game. But anyways, let's start into the story of the game. The story of the game, I don't know. I'm not really into the stories on Souls like stuff. Um, but just kind of like it's it's pretty simple, really. It's just him. It's like your person, or your shell that you use, which is called a harbinger, I think. And he just goes and collects these eggs, and kind of has to clear the corruption or whatever. So basically, just running around collecting a bunch of eggs, and they look like some kind of weird alien eggs or something. But that's pretty much the story. You know, I don't really go with these stories with Souls-like games, unless they're like really, really, really good or something. Or I don't know. Most of the time, it's just pretty simple stuff. You know, we're really there for the gameplay. You know, which is why let's talk into the gameplay now. So the gameplay of this game, really smooth, really snappy. The combat's really good in this game. Um, the harden, they got like you can parry, guard, or you can also harden. Harden, I kind of when I was doing my new game plus, the harden one seemed a little bit better. I did use guard for a long time, the guard one. I think I would use that for my whole playthrough, but after messing around with harden, it's pretty good. So if I was you, I'd mess around with all of them and just see. And they do have one. It's called the Slayer Seal, and that one's pretty much easy mode. You can pretty much stun lock bosses and everything. So if you're struggling, but it takes away achievements. But if you're struggling really bad, then you can just use that, and you can basically just stun lock everything. Just pretty OP. But yeah, the gameplay is great. Combat, the dodging, and there's no stamina in this game, which is pretty sweet. No stamina, so you can just dodge all you want. You can't really block all you want though. If you keep blocking, it'll eventually break your guard, and you'll be stun locked for a while. So it's not really worth doing that. But overall, gameplay is top notch. Now the graphics really. I remember when I played the beta, I was like, man, I was playing on PS5, and graphics were great. I love the atmosphere. A lot of the zones are cool looking. They have like snowy zones. Um, let's see, some swamps. I wouldn't be a Souls like without swamp. Foresty areas. Just really cool environments and stuff. Kind of like gothic type stuff. It's pretty good. And yeah, I think it's running on Unreal Engine 5. So maybe that's why it's got a lot of bugs. I don't know. Usually that engine comes with a lot of bugs and stuff. Some companies can do it, and some, it's kind of shaky there. But the length of the game is around probably get around 30 to 40 hours into it. So that's pretty good length. I think the original one was I don't know, 10 hours maybe, 5, 10 hours, kind of short. But yeah, pretty good chunk of gameplay here. I did find when I beat the final boss and then went into New Game Plus. New Game Plus is a lot easier. I feel like it's a lot easier than the first playthrough because then you don't have all your shells and all that stuff. And that's another thing too, the shells. So there's 8 shells in total, and then there's 8 weapons in total, I think. And the weapons are pretty cool. They all have their, kind of special abilities and different things they do. And you can also like imbue your weapons with lightning damage and fire damage and all that stuff. And the shells are really cool. There's some I really liked, some I didn't. But the currency you get, the currency you get for the shells and stuff, you don't really get a whole lot of it through your first playthrough. So you're kind of struggling. So if you play this game, just pick a shell that you really like, try them out maybe a little bit, but don't spend too much stuff on like leveling them up or unlocking their abilities and stuff. Just find one you really like, because you don't really get a whole lot of currency to level them up all the way on your first playthrough. So like I said, just find the one that you like the most, and then just spend all your currency on it. But that kind of sucked that you couldn't really experiment. It kind of limits you on experimentation, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. You can always replay it and level up and get more stuff and get stronger and everything, anyways. But a lot of the skills that come with the shells are pretty cool too. Some have to do with like flaming stuff and poison, and it's all kinds of cool stuff with the shells. Um, the difficulty of this game, I found it to be pretty decent. The thing is, like, I feel like the beginning and mid game is not too bad, but then like the late end game, there's some bosses in there, especially like towards the last hour or so. There's some bosses in there, and it's just complete BS, and it is really frustrating how some of them have 2 health bars, and the way they maneuver and stuff is really bad. It's just the tracking is just crazy. Like, it don't matter how many times you dodge or run or whatever. It just, I don't know. You can't really get away from them. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, but you could also use the Slayer seal to make it easier if you're really having trouble. It'll just take out your achievements, like I said before. But this game, it's pretty good. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the hardest Souls game. I mean, there's some pretty decent bosses in there, and there is some like early game if you haven't really leveled up much. Um, there is some kind of hard bosses in there early game, but they're not too bad. I mean, it's not like something really stupidly hard or anything. I think most people can get through it. But yeah, I think that's about it of the review. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can think of. It is a good Souls like. I'd probably, I don't know. I'd probably give it a 8 to 8.5 out of 10. If you take away the bugs and stuff, 8.5 out of 10, which I think they'll probably get patched out later down the road. The New Game Plus is pretty awesome. This is definitely one of those games when you beat it, you kind of feel like playing some more of it. To me, I kind of had my favorite shell and already leveled it up and everything. And I don't know, I didn't really want to spend too much time on um, getting my shell stronger, or just, I don't know, kind of messing around with other builds and stuff. So after like 40 hours, I was pretty much done with it. So moving on to other games and stuff. And there's a lot of games coming out in September that I want to play and review. And looking forward to that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And thanks for stopping by and watching. And I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time.